the varnish on the bottom of the windowsills along here is starting to go a little bit. I think it's interior varnish that's been used. So when the condensation in winter drips down the windows and goes on there, it's making it bubble a little bit. You can just see there it's starting to crack. So I'm going to lightly sand them down, and then I'm going to paint them with interior varnish. I'm also going to repaint the bilge area. It's a little bit rusty, it's not too bad. I'm going to give that a sand down, and I'm going to start to attempt to do the piping for the back boiler, which I'm not really looking forward to. I'm going to sand these window frames down. These are in the bedroom, and where the condensation collects, the varnish has started to come off a little bit. So I'm going to sand them down and re-varnish them. So I lightly sanded back the windowsills and then went over with a clear varnish. I've used exterior varnish, with it being exposed to the sunlight all the time and moisture. I thought it'd be better than the I think the stuff that was on there before was interior varnish, which is why it started to crack where the water got into it. But we'll see what that turns out like. Today I'm changing our bilge pump to this automated one. The bilge pump at the minute is just right in that corner. So it's a bit dirty at the minute there. I'm just putting fur tan all over these patches for it all to be painted. And then all this is going to have to be cleaned out. It's a bit mucky. So we're changing the pump, the bilge pump, which is a manual one, not an automatic one. So we changed it to an automatic one just for peace of mind, really, that we can set it to automatic, and then if for any reason a large amount of water gets in there when we're not on the boat, it'll automatically pump it out for us. So at the minute I'm just sorry, this is all a mess here. I'm just disconnecting the outlet there so that I can take this pipe out and then swap it over for the new one. Right, so I took the old pump out, gave it a clean because there's quite a bit of grease there from the stern gland that was all over the old pump, which obviously isn't good for it. So it's going to need a really good clean out at some point, but it's showering on and off today, so I'm not bothering doing that today. Soaked all the bottom of the bilge out with this pump, which you pump it on top and then it sucks all the water into it, so we managed to get all that out the bottom of there. So now we just need to put the new pump on. So just soaked that end piece in some boiling water so it goes over to soften it up so it goes straight over. I just need to tighten this Jubilee clip up and then do the wiring. So most people watching this will know what a bilge pump is, but just in case you don't, all boats have bilge pumps. They basically pump the water out of the lowest bit of the boat. So on narrowboats, the main area where water will come into the boat is through the stern gland. So this shaft here runs from the gearbox in the engine, and then it goes directly out to the back of the boat, which is underneath the waterline, just through there. So the propeller's on the other side of that. So because that's underneath the waterline and the shaft running through there is drips of water that come into the boat, and that's absolutely normal. There is a stern gland in there which is packed with grease, which you turn this, which pumps grease down through this tube into the stern gland, which stops most of the water coming through, but it does still drip through. So that's why that bilge pump is there, to just pump the water back out into the canal. Right, so we've done the wiring. That'll need covering over at some point, and it all works. So our previous pump was a manual, so it was literally off and on. With the new pump being an automatic one, it has off, manual and automatic, so this switch will need changing over to a 3-way switch. At the minute it's just on and off, so it's just a 2-way. So it's wired up for manual at the minute, and then this will be the wire for the automated bilge pump. So that's all done now, it's all wired up. Just turn it on. It's a lot quieter than the old one. These wires will need covering over at some point and fastening to this bar, and then once it's finished raining I can then dry all this lot off, sweep it all out, paint it all, and do that side first, then move everything from that side over to that side, and then do this side, and then clean all the bilge out, degrease it all, paint all that, and then I'm going to put a tray underneath the plastic tray so it's not sitting in that metal bit, and just be easier to clean and keep on top of. So I've done one side of the top end of the bilge now, so I'm going to do this side now. So I'm going to move all that stuff over to there, degrease it all, clean it, put some Furtan on there, and then paint it with Hammerite. So I've used a mixture of paint on Hammerite and the aerosol cans. I've used the aerosol to get into the tiny little bits where I can't get into with a brush properly, especially up along the other side of this. I still need to do this side yet, but up at the back of it you can't really get to with the brush properly in all the really small spaces. So I cleaned all the oil off with some fairy liquid and some hot water, then rinsed it all down, and now I'm going to put some Furtan on these rusty little bits where I've just scraped back. It's not too bad, it's just there's just spots of rust every now and again, so I've scraped them all back. I'm going to put some Furtan on and then leave it for that to cure and then paint it. So I've applied the Furtan now to the rusty bits. It's already damp because I've just cleaned it all down. Furtan works best when it's damp so it can penetrate into the metal. So I need to leave that for at least 24 hours. And then once it's converted all the rust into whatever it converts it into, I can then clean it all out and then get ready for painting. So finished painting both sides now. Just need to do this bit at a later date. There's a couple of people have asked as well why Stephen doesn't appear in many videos, and that is because he's a miserable sod. So I just found this bit of piping in a bag in the bilge where I was cleaning it out. Now this is what the previous owner said he took off from the piping for the back boiler and replaced it. So this is the same what's happened again. So he replaced this section that he took this off with some metal piping, but this has happened again further down the plastic piping. But you can see this is exactly what's happened to the other bit. It's got so hot that it's just literally just distorted the plastic piping and burst through. So it all definitely needs taking out and replacing with metal. I just don't know what they were thinking putting plastic piping on a back boiler. I was attempting to start the piping for the back boiler, but I've just knackered up my saw blade, so I'm going to have to order a new one of them. So that's going to have to be another day. I managed to get a small section of it done, and the piping's tucked right in the corner, so it's going to be a harder job than I thought it would be. But I'm going to have to order another blade to lift the bigger section out and see what it's actually like. So I think that's the end of this video. If you liked it, give us a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, still give us a thumbs up.
you know you want to. Thanks a lot.
That's it. We're not going in there, it's fine.